All right.
Are you
Okay.
guys seeing my clean screen?
Yep.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, welcome, Melanie. It's nice to have you back and doing and seeing you again. And well, I'm just going to turn it over to you and have you talk about reputation management.
I feel like it's early 2020 again with
Yeah.
Tom
Yeah.
sitting with the big scissors in the background. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I sent Erica a note on LinkedIn. I'm like, why did I have to hear you're leaving from our SBA guy? But congratulations to him. You guys are obviously in good hands with Tom, and we'll just keep moving forward. So thank you, welcome. Today we're going to talk about managing your online reputation and promoting your business through those channels. Just briefly, my name's Melanie McGovern. For those who don't know me, I'm the communications director here for the Better Business Bureau of Upstate New York. I'll get into a little bit about BBB and the area that we serve. But I've been with the Better Business Bureau for 8 years. According to my LinkedIn, it says 8.5, which is not true, it's 8. My areas of expertise here are social media, websites, email marketing. A lot of the digital marketing and traditional marketing come under my department. I also serve as chief spokesperson. So if you're thinking, boy, she looks familiar, you may have seen me on the news or, through our social media videos, which we will again talk about as the presentation goes along. So today we're talking about online reputation management because after the pandemic, during the pandemic, and according to Tracy, we're still going to get COVID. It's driven a lot of people online. It has driven a lot of people to start looking at companies a little bit differently because they're not as exposed to the world. Like our office, we have like maybe 5 people here today out of 35. So a lot of people are using the internet to do research. 34% of these people are searching every day for businesses, brands, companies, organizations that they might want to interact with. So one of the biggest things that you can do as a business is have that positive online reputation. It helps customers trust you. It can convert searches into leads. It can also help boost you in local search. So if somebody's looking for a business that you are in and you're out there like hustling, doing everything you can to manage your online reputation, you could appear higher in a local search. So we're going to talk about Better Business Bureau. I'm going to talk about the BBB standards of trust because it really does relate to how you manage not only your online reputation, but your business as well. We're going to go through the basics. This isn't going to be how to set up a Facebook profile. This is going to be how to manage all of these things. So we're going to talk about a BBB business profile, which you do not need to be a member of ours to have. All businesses are entitled to have one, but you definitely want to make sure it's updated. Google, websites. It's so funny how people don't think websites are as important now, but they are. They're absolutely important. Any online directories that you may be listed on, up and coming forums. We'll talk a little bit about email marketing. Do a little bit of a dive into customer reviews, why they're so important. Every year data comes out around customer reviews, and every year this data just completely changes. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to talk about the importance of your social presence more so than you need to be on Twitter if this is your business. We're just going to talk about ways to manage your social media presence. So again, here we are. We are the Blue. We serve the 48 counties of upstate New York. There's also a Better Business Bureau in New York City that we work with very closely. Their 100th anniversary year is this year. Ours is next year. So be aware there's going to be a lot of fun stuff coming down the pike with that. I know you guys are celebrating 50 years. So I see Kelly nodding. I'm going to be picking your brain for ideas because I think you guys are doing a really great job with your anniversary this year. This is our website. A lot of people come to us to search for a company, to file a complaint, or to start a review. So when we redid our website a few years ago, that's exactly what you see when you log in. And then below that is all of the news and scam alerts that are going on. So it's just a really great way to search for a company, see what their reputation is, see if they're BBB accredited, see if they have any complaints or reviews before you make that decision. We also have advertising reviews. So if you ever see an ad that you think there's no way that's true, we have a person on our team who will review that advertising, and websites and social media posts also count. So if there's, again, anything you ever see, send it over to us and we'll take a look at it. We have our scam tracker tool, which is a great way to find out what's going on in your area, especially if there's new scam calls going on. My husband got that email from Burger King yesterday that was a receipt. And he sent it to me and I looked it up, and it turns out Burger King sent us spam email to all of their customers. So it wasn't a scam, but it will help you to identify scams and to let people know what's going on. So even if you don't lose money, we always encourage people to file a scam tracker report. We have an investigation team. So if there's a company that's taking money and not doing jobs for people, if there are circumstances like that, we have an investigator who looks into it. We have a charity review program for nonprofits. They can become accredited just like a business. The charity review is a free program. It is slightly difficult for charities. It's 20 standards as opposed to BBB's 8, but it's really worth it for the charities because it helps their donors see trust in them, and it makes them, you know, a little bit more transparent with what they're doing. And of course, we have our world famous dispute resolution services, the complaints. We act as the neutral third party between the business and the consumer to come to a resolution if there is a complaint down the road. That's it. So these are BBB standards, and a lot of times these are just great ways to think about your business, you know, the way you want to run your business. You want to advertise honestly, build trust, you want to tell the truth. One of the biggest things we saw during the pandemic were a lot of businesses just being honest about, I can't get to you, I'm too busy, or I don't have treated lumber right now. There are no pools to be had across the world. So it's really good for businesses to be honest and to tell the truth when it comes to their customers. At the end of the day, if you aren't truthful, it's going to hurt you down the road. You want to be transparent. If you do have a contract, honor promises, and something comes up, you want to make sure that you're being truthful and letting them know what's going on. Be responsive. We're going to talk a lot about being responsive today. And especially when it comes to online, you want to make sure you're safeguarding privacy, that you have that privacy policy in place on your website, letting people know this is what I'm doing with your information. If you enter it, especially if it's a retail type organization that takes payments, you want to make sure that people know, we're not sharing any of your information out there. And of course, you want to embody integrity in everything that you do. So we're going to be talking a lot about trust, honesty, and responsiveness today when it comes to managing your online reputation. And just real quick, this is a BBB business profile. I know it's probably kind of hard to see, but there's a lot to unpack here. And there's a lot of really great information that people can get about companies that are either, BBB accredited or not. We issued an alert about a website that claims they're running out of Rochester that is selling these overstuffed beanbag chairs for really ridiculously low prices. So we did put up a BBB business profile with a big red alert saying that we believe this company is fraudulent. So even if a business is not real, we will put up a profile to let people know, hey, it's not real. We always tell our members to update their business profile as if it was their website or their social media, because when you are doing a search, if your phone number on your Facebook page doesn't match your BBB business profile, that's going to hurt you if people are searching for your type of business. So you want to make sure, again, it's indexed by Google. If there's something wrong, it could hurt your searchability. Again, and if you are a BBB accredited business, you can add your logo, your hours, before and after photos, more of a description of your company. It's treat it like a second website, treat it like your Google profile. It's a really great way to get information out there. So that's that. And again, if a business is not BBB accredited, we will build a profile for them, but it won't be as robust as an accredited business profile. A lot of businesses don't Google themselves, and it's really important to make sure that you're keeping up with what is going on out there. So, when you Google your business, you want to make sure you're seeing this, like, I love this, great company, really great to work with, and a lot of companies will, go in there and see this and be like, where did this come from? I don't remember ever doing this, because they're not on top of it and they're not paying attention. So it's really important to make sure that you're setting up like free Google alerts, or using, there's free review monitoring, which we use here. And the second we get a review, I get an email saying, hey, somebody left a review for you. So there's really great ways for free to do that kind of stuff. The Google business page is your literal window to the world. 95% of searches for businesses start on a mobile phone and start with the Google app. So you want to make sure that your business page is updated. You have to claim it, and it's interesting, they will mail you a postcard with a code on it, just so they know that it's actually you that is claiming this Google business page. You want to make sure your contact information is correct. One of the biggest things I always tell companies when I used to travel extensively through upstate New York, I would pull out my phone and open Google and type in the address and look to see if I was at the right location. So the picture that we have up is a picture of the sign that's in front of our building. So that's the first thing people will see. So you want to make sure if you do have a storefront or something along those lines, that that is the picture that's on Google. So people will know, okay, I'm in the right place. And you can also share updates. I always get an email right before a holiday saying, are you open on Memorial Day? And there's also other updates you can share as well. We did a lot of sharing of updates during the pandemic to let people know, hey, the office is closed, but we are still handling complaints. We are still taking inquiry calls. We're still servicing our businesses. So it's a really great place to, again, share any really important updates you might have about your company. And it's interesting that, again, a lot of people don't realize how important a website is as a window to your business. You want to make sure that if you do have like a third-party company managing your website, that you also have access. One of the biggest things we hear from our BBB accredited businesses, I can't get into my website. My vendor is the only one who can get in. Make sure before you sign any contract that you have access to that website, just in case something happens. You want to ask yourself a couple of questions also before you build a website or before you give your website a refresh. You want to know, what are people looking to get out of your website? Like I said, when we redid the Better Business Bureau website a few years ago, we really talked to consumers and businesses and said, what do you guys want to see? And they want to see, how do I search for a business? How do I file a review? And how do I file a complaint? So that's why our website is set up the way it is. So if you want to just have a web presence, like a one-page website, you want to make sure you have your operating hours, the name of your business, again, a photo of your location if you do have a location. If you are looking for online shopping, you want to make sure that you're using secure means to do that so that people feel comfortable shopping with you. You want to make sure that you know your audience. You don't want to make it take 6 clicks to get where people need to go. You want to know how they're going to interact with your website and if it's going to fulfill their needs or not. And, again, there are free sources for you to look at your analytics. I know Google Analytics are free. And then you can tailor your goals toward that. Like, okay, we're not getting enough clicks on our buy here page, or we're not getting enough clicks on our contact form. So then you can just retool your website. And the more you update your website, the more it's re-indexed by Google and the better it is for search engine optimization. I've given this presentation now for a long time, and I remember giving it to another chamber partner and asked everybody in the room, when was the last time you updated your website? And somebody said 2009. And I think it was 2017 when I asked that question. So it's just really important to keep that website updated. And there's a ton of online directories. Chambers are online directories. Better Business Bureau is an online directory. There's a lot of those yellow page type websites where they're just pulling your information from wherever. You do, as the business owner, have the right to update that. So you want to make sure you know, number one, where your business is listed. Number two, you want to make sure your information's updated. And if you are a member of a membership organization, you want to reconnect with them and say, okay, let's see what's going on. Are there any events I can go to? Things like that, advertising opportunities. It's interesting, when I started working here 8 years ago, I was tasked with doing this for us. And I couldn't believe how many Better Business Bureau of Buffalo, Better Business Bureau of Western New York. There was just so many websites that had us wrong, that we spent a really good amount of time making sure that all of that information was correct so that people were able to find us and access all of our services. It's funny, this topic comes up amongst the Better Business Bureaus all the time about the website Nextdoor, which is an online network of people in your neighborhood. And it's interesting how you get a letter in the mail and you have to sign up for it and prove that you're the homeowner, so that you're talking to your neighbors. But Nextdoor is people looking for recommendations or people complaining about service providers. So it's always interesting to see that they're recommending everything from home improvement to dog walkers to financial planners to vets. And it's a good place for businesses to be, because if somebody mentions your business, it'll tag your business. So if somebody is saying, I need an auto repair person and I recommend, Pat's Auto Repair, it will tag it, and then people can click over there and get the phone number and the address. So Nextdoor, don't sleep on Nextdoor. Make sure your business is listed over there, because it's an up and coming form that a lot of people are still using post pandemic. Facebook groups. I mean, I think we're pretty much all in a neighborhood Facebook group or some kind of like special interest Facebook group. My neighborhood Facebook group is the same thing as Nextdoor. It's people asking for recommendations. Oh, does anybody have a concrete person? Oh, I'm looking to put in a fence. Who did yours? So we always tell our businesses, make sure your Facebook page is updated, because if somebody tags you in one of these groups or mentions you, and then they go into the search and look for your page and you don't have a Facebook page, they're not going to go off Facebook to look for you. So, we'll get to Facebook in a minute, but those are just two networks that, I always tell people, make sure that you're exploring, and it's a great place to be, to get referrals and other things like that. Email marketing, not dead. Email engagement rates increased during the pandemic. Open rates went up. I know our open rate went up 10 points, which is awesome. That means people are looking to engage with your content. But there's always just 3 things to remember when you're writing up an email to send to people. Is it the right content for the right audience at the right time? There were a lot of brands nationally that were criticized in the beginning of the pandemic because their emails were perceived as tone deaf, when everything was shutting down, when people were, panic buying, when, just there was so much confusion. I remember telling, our former content creator marketing person, like, hey, you got to blow out the social media calendar. And she was a little upset. Like, I worked really hard on that. I go, yeah, but we're about to lock down the entire world. We have to retool our content. We have to retool our emails. So when I was redoing our email marketing strategy, it was not some of the emails that we were sending about, hey, don't forget to use our customer review app, and hey, don't forget to use the seal on all of your advertising. It was, hey, we've got a webinar coming up with Empire State Development. Hey, the SBA is going to be doing a live Q&A about PPP loans. Making sure that the content we were sending our members was valuable to them at that right time. And the number one reason people unsubscribe is because there's too many emails. I always go on these weird binges on my personal email. If a brand is sending me too many emails, I'll just unsubscribe. If it gets to the point of, oh my God, I got 6 emails from Old Navy today, I can't do it. But what I look at more when I report our metrics to our board of directors is, yes, we have a really nice open rate, but last month only 1 person unsubscribed out of 7,000 members. So watch your unsubscribes, I would say, more than your open rate, because that means, again, and I'll use the Old Navy example again. If I don't need anything from a retailer that I'm getting a lot of emails from, I'll just delete them. But when I do need something, I'll open it. So, the unsubscribe versus the, open rate, you want to make sure you're keeping an eye on that, and that you're not blasting people for no reason. You want to make sure that you have an engaging subject line, but it's not going to mislead people. I know Steve writes the best subject lines. I love them, and I always send him a note saying that was awesome, because he got me to open it, and it was still a great email. What was it, pumpkin spice something the one time? Oh my God, it was so great. But yeah, you want to be funny, but you don't want to be clickbaity either. But yeah, it was great, and I loved it. Does anybody have any questions while we have a break in topics? So I can take a sip of coffee. All right, now we're going to talk about customer reviews. And I am a huge customer review fan. I laugh when my husband will not go to a restaurant unless he reads the reviews on the menu first. And he's not young. So this is something that a lot of people are really leaning on customer reviews. Because it's the trust of the person who's going to make a commission, or the person who had an authentic experience and an honest experience with a brand, a product, or a company. So, trust is really key when it comes to reviews. The The reviews are really important because it not only boosts your brand recognition, it can increase your search engine optimization because it's user generated content that somebody else is writing about your company. It's instant feedback. So you know, okay, we've got a couple of people who weren't happy. Let's see how we can improve. And it's a direct communication to your company. And it's interesting, you know, the places where you should leave reviews: Google, Yelp, Facebook, and BBB. You know, because our reviews, we actually verify them before they're published. It's funny, some of our businesses will call our accredited business team and say, I had 3 customers write reviews. Why aren't they up there? And we'll ask them, well, when did they write the reviews? An hour ago. Okay, we have to review it, and then you have to review it and let us know if it's real or not, and then it'll get published. So our reviews take about 48 hours to publish. But you know, I got an email the other day from a company that said this person was never my customer and I can prove it. I don't know why they copied me on it, but it was, again, he proved it. That review didn't get published. So, you know, it might take a little bit longer to get those BBB reviews, but you know, at least you know that we are checking them before they get published, because you know, anybody could write a review anywhere about anything and never have an experience with it. So it's something to keep in mind when you're writing reviews. 98% of people will occasionally read online reviews for businesses. That number has gone up so much since we've started doing this presentation back in like 2016. And it's interesting because I remember our president was like, I don't read reviews, I don't write reviews, and now he is Mr. Review. He loves it. So it's interesting to see how the tide has turned when it comes to customer reviews. 77% always or regularly read reviews when browsing for a local business, and that's gone up obviously due to the pandemic. The percentage of people who never read reviews has fallen from 13% to just 2%. So that's really, really interesting because, you know, sometimes when you search a business, the first thing you'll see is the reviews. So it's really hard to avoid. And, you know, again, if you're spending a lot of money on anything, you want to know, hey, what was everybody else's experience with this? Did they do a good job? Is the product, is it a good product? You know, we just had a couple more quick stats. I'm not going to bore everybody with stats, but it's interesting. Service businesses and trades, 84% reviews are important or very important, which is, you know, most of our members are those types of businesses. Care services, very interesting, like salons, things like that. A lot of people read those reviews, and it's funny, I'm barely walking out of my salon and I'm getting a text to file a review. So it's very important to them. And healthcare as well. 74% of consumers left reviews for local businesses in the last 12 months. 67% of consumers will consider leaving a review for a positive experience, which is amazing because customer reviews started in like the early 2000s and all people did was complain. So it's really nice to see that tide has shifted toward more people leaving positive customer experiences. 40% will leave a review for a negative experience, and 33% will consider both. It takes a lot for me to write a negative review. I will always be the first one to write a positive review if I'm really happy with something. 7% of consumers only leave negative reviews, which is hilarious. Like I could just see like the curmudgeon, like grabbing their phone type person leaving those reviews. And then 34% will leave a positive review. So the trend is shifting toward more positivity when it comes to customer reviews, which is awesome. I mean, sometimes I won't buy a piece of clothing unless it has 2 or 3 reviews that I, you know, can relate to and say, okay, you know what, maybe I'll give it a shot. So where do these customers go after they read these reviews? Number 1, they'll go to your website. They'll search for more reviews to further validate their choice, which is really interesting, especially if it's like a higher ticket type service or item. I think people really want to make sure that they're making that right decision. They'll visit the location. They'll continue searching for other businesses to see if they have more reviews or more information, or they'll contact the business. So this is how it all works together. Like you want to make sure that your website's up to date, that you have those positive customer reviews, that, you know, if they're searching for you, they can find you and they can contact you. So it all works together when it comes to reviews and all the other stuff that we talked about, which is a lot. But it's just, it's funny. I had years ago, well, actually it was during the pandemic, my husband and I had to get some trees removed from our property. And, you know, he's like, I'm going to go to BBB and do a search. And we found a tree company, and the guy was amazing. They did a wonderful job. And he was kind of like, he had his head down, he was kicking the grass. He's like, do you think you could maybe, you know, leave, and like, is he looking away? And he's like, could you leave me a review? I said, you know what, we will absolutely leave you a review. And he was so excited, but he was so hesitant to ask. And it's so important for companies to ask, because if somebody asks for it, people are more likely to do it. So it's really important to ask for those reviews. Any questions about customer reviews? No. And again, we're just going to go through a couple of things when it comes to social media. I'm not going to get into, how to build a Facebook profile or anything like that. This is just general BBB advice of how we work with our businesses to help them build a positive reputation on social media. We did a video a couple weeks ago about people who complain on social media and how sometimes it doesn't get to the right place. So, when businesses do see complaints, they need to respond. That's number one. It's interesting because almost 80% of consumers expect a response within a day, but that rate is so much lower. A quick response is something that people are looking for, that immediacy on social media. And, we were talking about, it may be satisfying to sit there and write this whole big long rant, or this company did an amazing job, but who's really seeing it? You want to make sure you're tagging the business, and if you are tagged, that you're responding or reposting if it's positive. So there's just, we really need people to be more responsive on social media. We have here, there's a Meta Business Suite app, which is Facebook and Instagram. And every time that goes off, I'm like, what happened? Because I want to make sure that we're being really responsive to our customers, our members, our consumers, on our social media platforms. And a lot of businesses, I've done this presentation a long time, and I'll get I don't need to be on social media. I don't need a Facebook page. I'm word of mouth. I don't need any of this. You do. And it's interesting that, there's so much that, a lot of people will just use Facebook as a lead source or as a business source to find companies that they want to work with. Especially with all the advertising and the commercials that are clogging our feeds, people are seeing businesses and brands more on social media. So it's just, even if you're a small, like, sole proprietor, you definitely want to make sure you have a social media presence. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I just found this one stat interesting. Each person spends an average of 2 hours and 25 minutes on social networks and messaging every day. So out of 24 hours a day, 2.5 of it is spent on our phones, like scrolling social media or talking to people. Social media content is shareable. It's great PR. I know my gym, I go to a boutique fitness gym here in Buffalo, and they'll tag us. They'll always focus on us, and we all share it. So it's totally free public relations for them, and they're brilliant for doing it. Yeah, and then if somebody gets a recommendation for a business or a company, the first place they're going to go is over to social media to see what is their presence like, what kind of products do they have, what kind of posts are they doing. So it's definitely something that you want to make sure that your pages are up to date. And if the content is older or irrelevant, consumers will unfollow brands because they're just not into it anymore, which I don't think I've ever actively unfollowed anybody. But, sometimes when I look at our stats, I'll see one person unfollowed us this week and I get offended. I'm like, why? But, some people will unfollow a business if they don't like their content. So something to keep in mind. So when Pat started, I keep pointing in the back, when Pat started working with us, we locked ourselves in a room and worked on a social strategy that we ended up throwing away after a couple of weeks, because things are always changing. So it's really important to make sure that, again, if you are really active on social media, you want to make sure that you're following these tips. More video content. All of our content, except for Mondays and Wednesdays, is video content, and it does really well. And all you need is a cell phone to produce it. The creator economy will increase in importance. That is your influencers, your regular people talking about products, shooting these types of videos on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. These are the people who are going to be influencing decisions that people make. one of the biggest videos that we do are our tip videos, or our, some people do tutorial videos, which are phenomenal. If your business is in a position to do that, again, they don't need to be long. They don't need to be flashy. Just make sure that you're getting really good information, that you're authentic. Overly produced videos, and this is just me, bug me. I like that our videos are very real. They're very authentic. We're just kind of talking to the camera. Super easy to do, and know what social media platforms you need to be on. I get a lot of people asking me that question whenever we do this, like, do I really need to be on Twitter? Do I need to be on Instagram? And the answer is, you don't need to be everywhere. If there's a certain audience you're targeting, like there's some content creators on LinkedIn who are phenomenal, but that's the audience that they're serving. They're not on TikTok because they're serving a business audience. So you want to know where you need to be. So you're focusing your efforts on being awesome at it, and not just trying to spread it out among all of the social networks because you feel like you need to be everywhere. I always say pick one or two, be awesome at it, and the others will follow. I know we're going to talk a lot about video, but video is the future. It's where everybody's going. 54% of consumers want to see video content from a brand they support. People process visual content 60,000 times faster. When I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see words, I'm like, I don't want to read, but I see a video and I stop and I'm like, okay, what are they talking about? So, it's really important to make sure that if you have the means to do the videos, it inspires empathy and emotions. 92% of consumers on mobile will share videos with others. I laugh now, like all of my friends, and we're a little older, we all share like TikToks with each other now, like, oh, this is funny, this is cute. But we're just passing videos back and forth constantly, which gives them more views, which is great. And videos drive the most ad clicks on Facebook. We're going to be working this fall on a video brand awareness campaign on Facebook because of that, because we want the clicks. We want people to be aware of Better Business Bureau and all the services that we provide. Just a couple of social media content ideas. A lot of these we have done here, and they are very successful. We have employee features are amazing, because I just remember my mother-in-law shared it, my mother shared it, all my friends saw it because they shared it. They went over to our page to like it. So then they started following our page. So doing employee features, or just like showing that your company is human, behind the scenes type stuff, people love that. There is a car dealership that I follow on TikTok that is in like Lansing, Michigan, but they walk around asking their techs and their salespeople questions about cars, and I love it. So I'm never going to buy a car from these guys, but I follow their page because it's really engaging content. One place I've seen some businesses get in trouble is sharing memes or quotes from what's going on in the world, but it's not really relevant to their business, and it can make them look tone deaf in a way. So just really be careful about, sharing those types of what's in the news type things, or anything political. I'm not even gonna say the P word, but just remember, you are your business in addition to your business. So like when I'm on social media, I'm very careful because I'm the face of the Better Business Bureau. I can't, do weird things on my personal pages, and I don't. Infographics are great. People love them. They're a really great way to get information out there. And again, user-generated content. If there's a testimonial that from a customer that you want to share, people really like that. So those are really, just a couple of things that people can do, when you're putting your content plan together, or if you're like, oh, I need to figure out some content today, what can we do? These are just really great ideas. And with that, I would love to open it up for some questions.
Do we have any questions? Did anybody send any in? I don't know if in the chat we had any. Or...
No, I don't have anything.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think one of the ironies of these webinars like this is that some of the people that need it the most aren't on the webinar. We do keep these available on our YouTube page, and they will be, so people can access them. We actually had a few people that couldn't make it. I think Stephen told me that have already emailed us and said it will be available at a later time. So we will make this available at a later time. So, one of the questions I guess I have is about reviews. Is how do you know if they're does Better Business Bureau know if they're true reviews? There's a lot of fake reviews out there that just build up, that somebody can build up their review rating by posting a lot of fake reviews. Is there a way to monitor that at all?
On our website, like I said, we will get the review in. It doesn't publish right away. We reach out to the business, we share the review with them, we ask them, was this your customer? We actually do also look at their IP address. If we get like a bunch of reviews, positive reviews about a company, and they're all coming from the same like house, we've seen that before. We won't publish them.
I think it's more happens with positive reviews than it does with negative reviews.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like I said, we have one of our team members just focuses on reviews, and he does a great job at spotting that. And we'll reach back out and say, do you have a receipt or something that you can prove that you actually interacted with this company? And then that review won't get published. Obviously it's funny. My brother's, one of my brother's buddies owns a landscaping business, and he's always asking, hey, just file a review, give me 5 stars. I'm like, you don't do any work for me. And I give him that lecture of, you're not being true to your potential customers by padding your Facebook page with 5-star reviews. And, sometimes people don't want to see that 5 stars. They want to see 4.5. They want to see, 3.9, because they know that the reviews are real then. Not every company has a 5-star rating.
Yeah, I know. If I see one that's almost too glowing, you almost kind of dismiss it because you think it's not real. So,
yeah, it's funny.
We've got one question here from the chat. What are your thoughts on TikTok? Is it beneficial for businesses to have a TikTok account for advertising?
It depends on what your business is and how you, I guess, present the information. So Pat, how long have we had our TikTok? 2 months?
About, yeah.
Yeah. So we work really hard to make sure that what we're producing is relevant and that we are not dancing in front of the camera. There are a lot of, if you're trying to reach younger audiences, definitely. We cross post Instagram and TikTok. So when you're producing that content, you can use it on 2 different platforms, but it's definitely, what I did was I sat with TikTok every night after dinner and watched everything to see how do we fit in. So if you have the time, I would definitely get an account, like a personal account, go through, see, if there's things that are relevant to your business or businesses that are like yours, and see what they're doing, and then work on a bit of a strategy, and then just start shooting videos. Make sure though that you're not what's the hashtag hijacking, and that you're relevant, and that it's something people are going to want to watch. Our biggest thing that people love is our wheel of scams, where we spin the wheel. Pat and I take turns spinning the wheel, and then we talk about what the scam is, and we keep it under 40 seconds, and people love it. So we're just trying to be entertaining but informative at the same time.
Well, that question came from Oliver's Candies, and I'm not sure if you've ever been to Batavia and you haven't been to Oliver's Candy, you should go to Oliver's Candies. It's an iconic candy store. It's been here forever, and they also
see, now I've got all kinds of ideas for a candy store TikTok.
Yeah. And if I can speak to this a little bit,
I was
yes,
gonna do that.
yes, you should, Megan.
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
and she just
you
said
can have a lot of
9-year
fun with that,
anniversary
too.
this year.
And they're celebrating 90 years.
Yeah.
Right, Megan?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It is. I see the signs in front of the building,
And-
90 years. So that makes put our 50 years to shame. So
Yeah, and like Melanie said, Megan, there's apps online to download TikToks without watermarks, and you download it and you share it to Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels, and you can get 3-4 different social media content out of it. You know what I mean? So I would definitely encourage you to. We've been doing one for our tourism department since about March or so. So
Yeah, I
Great.
really, and it was funny because my husband, like every night, he's like, "Why do you have your AirPods in? What are you watching?" I'm like, I'm doing research for work. I swear to God. Like it's just it's so interesting to see what kind of content people engage with. And some of our videos that have done really well are literally me staring into the camera talking. All I did was hair and makeup. I mean, that was it. Turned my camera on and started talking. And we have a teleprompter app, which is great. That's free too. So if you want to keep if you have a script, it's very helpful. But don't make it sound like you're reading.
We've got a question here from Tracy. Do you have any data regarding targeted demographics? For example, age groups that utilize Instagram versus age groups that utilize Facebook?
Do I have anecdotal data or do I have real data? Because Facebook's an older crowd now. I mean, I'm not gonna say my age, but I'm leaning more toward Instagram because I'm sick of seeing my mother-in-law sharing stuff all the time. But when you're in business though, businesses and consumers are still going to use Facebook to find companies. Instagram, I say, leans like Gen X to millennial, and then TikTok is more Gen Z. But if you want an older demographic or people who are looking for businesses, Facebook is the place to be. It still has 2 billion users a month, across all age groups. But yeah, it's all in how you present the content as well.
yeah, I heard a funny thing about that is like everybody's trying to hide from their parents. So it's like
Yep.
Facebook was the original way, and then all the parents got on that. So it went to Instagram, and now all the parents are getting on that. So now it's going to something else.
Well, it's funny, a friend of mine tagged me in a Facebook post over the weekend, and I said to my husband, I go, in 5 minutes, your mother will comment. And she did. So she made a comment to me. I don't remember when it was. She goes, "You never post on Facebook anymore. I don't know what's going on in your life." I'm like, "You could call me."
Mhm.
But most of my content, my personal content's on Instagram. I like the platform a lot better. So I joked with my husband. I go, if she ever gets on Instagram, she can't follow me.
Well,
So that's awesome, Steve. You're right. We're trying to hide from our parents. It's so funny.
I'm still on MySpace. So what does that say about me?
It's
Okay.
interesting though, like when we first started doing our Tip Tuesday videos back in 2018, everything was like horizontal, and now we're shooting everything vertical. And people will say, "Oh, there's this great book on social media." I'm like, who is writing books on social media? Like, this is just constantly changing and evolving. And there's so many great blogs stuff. Like HubSpot is an amazing source for information on social media trends and things to do and information. I would just suggest like looking at just doing a search online for any information. But I don't know about books at this point. Like the second, like I said, I'm staring at it right now. We had this great like social media plan, and then all of a sudden we're like, let's just throw this away and focus on TikTok. And cross promote the videos on other platforms. But they're working. I mean, our video views are going through the roof every month, and I love it.
Great. Well, we don't have any questions here left, I think. So I want to thank you, Melanie, for your time. And it's always interesting when we get together. I'm glad that we're partners with the Better Business Bureau. And we're going to encourage our members to use your website and your resources, because it's a great resource for local businesses. So,
like you guys are like one of my favorite chambers to present with, because always really good feedback and content. So thank you.
Yeah, well, good. Well, thanks a lot.
Thanks,
And thanks
Melanie.
everybody else.
Thank you.
And we will catch you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.